Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. Thanks for joining us. Construction of the Gordie Howe Bridge is nearing completion, but when will it actually open for use? CBC's Dalton Chen digs into that in our top story.
Windsor West's Member of Parliament says there needs to be more clarity on exactly when the Gordie Howe International Bridge will be open to traffic. In a statement to CBC Windsor, Conservative MP Harb Gill described the project as more than a bridge, but a vital economic lifeline. Gill wrote, "Our community deserves clear, consistent communication, not conflicting timelines. We have contacted federal agencies and project partners and are awaiting their response. We believe that the people of Windsor-Essex deserve a straight answer." Gill's statement comes as the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority continues to say it's too early to offer a specific opening date for the new crossing. With the summer drawing to an end, the Bridge Authority is still anticipating completion sometime this fall. But the Bridge Authority has yet to make any comment about the April report by ratings agency S&P Global, who suggested the opening date could be delayed until sometime in 2026. Such a timeline would depend on whether point-of-entry structures on either side of the bridge were handed over to border protection agencies according to schedule. Those agencies need 6 to 9 months of preparation before their facilities are capable of processing travelers. Both the Canada Border Services Agency and U.S. Customs and Border Protection declined to comment when asked if the handovers had occurred. Meanwhile, the Bridge Authority is still estimating that 98% of construction has been finished. Work on the point-of-entry structures is part of the remaining 2%. Dalton Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
And just before broadcast, we did receive a statement from the Canada Border Services Agency. They said the handover process began in early 2025, and the agency has been installing equipment in the bridge's facilities. CBSA staff have now started occupying the port of entry structures as they prepare for an opening date. Glengarry has long been considered one of Windsor's most dangerous neighborhoods, but the Windsor Police Service says it has made headway in cutting crime there. 1 year ago, the force launched a safety initiative in the area, and this week it released stats to highlight its progress. According to police, calls for service from the neighborhood are down 14%. Video producer Mike Evans spoke with some Glengarry residents, asking them if they feel safer now than they did a year ago.
No, crime hasn't gone down. There's more homeless around, constantly around. I just heard that they're going to spend millions of dollars to fill in a pool at Waterworld when they should be getting them out of the neighborhood and giving that pool back to kids, cleaning up the buildings, getting the drug dealers out of the buildings, because there's many of them doing real crimes, robberies, beatings, stabbings. I can't even leave a chair on my porch for 30 seconds without getting taken away. Cops chasing people all the time, ambulances almost every day. Police here almost every day, fire trucks here almost every day. Waterworld's always been the problem since day one I moved here. First it started off about 20, 30 of them at a time. Now it's up to like 100. These people do not care about us. They demand respect but give none. They smoke their drugs in our hallways, and we have security that just sits in the office and does nothing because they can't keep up with all the crime.
Michael, do you feel safer here now than you did a year ago?
No, I don't. Every day, like I said, gets worse and worse and worse.
You can see that there's been a definite improvement. There's still, lots of stuff going on, but I find it's more for people that don't live here than it is for people that actually live here. People from different neighborhoods that come down here, people from the homeless hub up there and stuff. I've seen open drug use, people smoking meth, people smoking fentanyl, people doing needles in the stairwells because there's no camera. But you don't see it as much.
Some of the other people I talked to said that things haven't improved, but you're saying your unit specifically, in your opinion, things have gotten better.
Well, my floor, but I got a quiet floor. There's a few floors in here I wouldn't go on. Because there are addicts in here, let's just not sugarcoat it. There are, hardcore drug addicts here, and there's drugs.
I guess, Jared, my last question is, do you feel safe?
Oh, I'm safe. I'm Jared. I walk up and down every time at all times of the night. I have no problems here.
According to Windsor Police, crimes against people have fallen by 38%. Property crime is down 45%, and drug crimes saw the biggest drop at 63%. And we are learning more about the man who entered Canada by kayak. He made the journey across the Detroit River, saying he fled the United States because he feared for his life. CBC's Emma Loop has his story.
It was here that an American man first set foot in Canada after kayaking to the country recently. Now he's talking about his trek across the border and his hope to find peace here. Dan Livers says he's a U.S. Army veteran. Originally from Kentucky, he paddled across the Detroit River earlier this month, landing about 12 kilometers south of the Ambassador Bridge.
I hit the sand, drug my yak up on the sand, geared up, went across the road to Timmy's, had a cup of coffee, calmed down a little bit.
Livers says he tried to declare himself at the nearby LaSalle fire station, but staff told him they don't handle that sort of thing. So he waited around 6 hours to run into a police officer.
About 1 o'clock in the morning, a patrolman was out doing his rounds and actually, doing his job, and lo, there I was. And he made contact with me, and I turned myself into him.
Later that day, LaSalle police said they'd handed him over to federal authorities. The RCMP confirmed his identity to CBC News and say they transferred Livers to Canadian border officials. The Canada Border Services Agency declined to comment on the specific case, but Livers says he claimed asylum, fearing his life is at risk back home. According to him, that's why he crossed in a kayak, not at an official border crossing.
I remember East Germany when I was a kid. Nobody came through Checkpoint Charlie, and I wasn't going to run a gauntlet of ICE, Sheriff's Department, State Police, whomever.
Livers fears retribution after criticizing a nonprofit group in Michigan that provides service dogs and works with the government.
It's all true. All the nonsense you hear south of the border is true.
CBC News cannot verify Livers' claims. It will be up to him to prove to Canadian authorities that he has a real fear of persecution or serious harm in the U.S., and that he wouldn't be safe anywhere in the country. For now, Livers is staying at the downtown Mission and says his experience in Canada has been great so far. He knows getting refugee protection will be hard, but he's up for the challenge.
I just don't want to get killed, and I hate looking over my shoulder. And I promise I'll do everything I can to be a good Canadian, and I will defend your border. I swear I will.
Livers could be waiting months or even years for a decision on his asylum claim. That's because the government is working through a backlog of cases. Emma Loop, CBC News, LaSalle.
And Colette Kennedy joins us now for our first look at weather. Colette, a bit of a rainy one. It looks like more rain is potentially on the way as well.
Yeah, and that rain kind of kept the temperature nearly steady and holding low 20s. And then we got a bit of break and a bit of sunshine coming through there late afternoon, early evening. Temperature popped up to the mid 20s. So, there are some peaks at it, but still a few light bands to come through. Mostly light. Maybe towards Amherstburg there you could get a glancing blow from that little cell, but otherwise we're getting towards the back end of this. So more like showers or kind of tapering off to drizzle as we move through the overnight. The temperature down to around 19, and tomorrow 25. Still some of that cloud cover hanging in, but temperatures will be warming back up again. I'll have more on that coming up.
Thanks very much, Colette. Up next, after days of uncertainty and travel chaos for hundreds of thousands of airline passengers, there's now a tentative deal between Air Canada and the union representing its flight attendants. The agreement has yet to be ratified, but it could set a new precedent for the entire airline industry. Ali Chiasson has the details.
The picketing is over. Parked planes are starting to move again, and so too are Air Canada passengers, although full service isn't expected for another week. After the turmoil, it does appear this new tentative agreement has broken new ground when it comes to ground pay for flight attendants. But by how much? So far, Air Canada will only tell us.
Ground pay is settled.
Ensuring that flight attendants are paid for the work they do before takeoff and after landing, like helping passengers on and off the plane, was a major sticking point in contract negotiations.
Our flight attendants will be compensated for their time on the ground. This has been part of our offer for several months now.
But the union rejected their initial offer to pay flight attendants 50% of their hourly rate for ground pay. They countered they wanted 100% compensation. Whether they got that or met somewhere in the middle is unknown. The union says they'll wait to comment until their members have been fully briefed. So they put it this way, quote, unpaid work is over.
We're very optimistic that it's worth taking a look at, and the free labor, free work will become a thing of the past.
Any compensation will be precedent-setting for how flight attendants are paid.
It will be a huge morale boost in addition to, obviously, an increase in the salary.
Does this mean ticket prices will go up to pay for what was bargained? This labor expert says not exactly.
Markets determine prices. not the costs of labor.
As for Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu's statement today, promising a probe into unpaid work after all this?
That's I think, recognizing that the blowback, public sentiment, seemed to be really on the side of flight attendants.
Even after the grounded Air Canada planes are cleared for takeoff, there's another thing still up in the air. Once this tentative deal is settled, will other airlines expect the same compensation for their flight attendants? WestJet's contract is up in December. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
If you're in the Toronto area, you may see something new in the skies above the city and its surrounding area. The city's smaller airport on an island just south of the downtown core now has the technology in place to support a new type of aircraft. Greg Ross has details.
It's not unusual to see small aircraft like this flying over the downtown core, but this plane may actually be the start of a new era of aviation in Toronto. It's fully electric.
Basically, we are enabling the cleaner, greener, quieter airport that we all envision.
Nicholas Papalardo is the CEO of a company called Stollport. They oversee a number of services at Billy Bishop Airport, like parking and ferry service. They also provide fuel for gas-powered aircraft. They will have the capability to power electric planes after purchasing Canada's first Beta Mini Cube charger.
This charger enables us to be on the map on the charging network to provide the electricity for those aircraft for their journey.
The charger is from an aerospace company called Beta Technologies. They're in the process of manufacturing electric planes, which can now fly into Toronto's Island Airport. Beta has a cargo-first approach.
With a platform like this, we can be transporting cargo between Hamilton or Toronto Pearson right into the heart of downtown.
Beta is also developing electric aircraft that will be capable of vertical takeoff and landing, similar to a helicopter. They will be able to land in small spaces, like the rooftop of a hospital or in a rural community that doesn't have access to an airport.
We'll be able to connect rural communities with the broader all of Canada. So we see the opportunity to deliver medical applications, whether that's medical cargo or doctor movement or patient transfer, all across Ontario and beyond.
The new Beta Mini Cube charger also has the capability to charge electric vehicles used by airport staff. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
In health news, a new study suggests that babies who are exclusively breastfed are less likely to hit puberty early. But as Christine Burak explains, doctors stress emphasis should be on helping moms breastfeed and not on judging those who don't.
More kids are starting puberty younger than they used to. Now some researchers say baby formula and weight gain might be part of the reason why.
The worst outcomes were in the girls who had exclusive formula feeding.
A large study done in South Korea involving over 320,000 children found during the first 4 to 6 months of life, breastfeeding was associated with a reduced risk of early onset puberty in boys and girls. Children who received a mix of breast milk and formula showed a slightly higher risk. However, formula-fed girls faced a 60% increased likelihood of early puberty. Boys saw a 16% increase.
A lot of data now is supporting early and longer-term breastfeeding is associated with less fat tissue.
More fat tissue could play a role in determining when puberty begins, but researchers still don't understand exactly how it works in the body. Puberty usually starts around age 8 to 13 for girls and 9 to 14 for boys. Close to or before that age is considered early puberty. Doctors say early puberty can affect kids' social, emotional, and long-term health, including cancer risk. The latest Canadian stats show 91% of parents start out breastfeeding. Less than half of them breastfeed exclusively for at least 6 months.
I tried hard, but it was hard for me.
Honestly, it was just about keeping him fed.
Doctors say the focus shouldn't be on adding more pressure on new moms.
Not breastfeeding your child is not a crime, and it doesn't mean inevitably that there will be problems. It's one factor.
Researchers say lactation support, flexible work schedules, and private spaces can make breastfeeding easier. Small shifts that can lead to lasting impacts on a child's health and development. Christine Burak, CBC News, Toronto.
After the break, a big win for the leader of the Conservative Party. Stay with us. Welcome back. Pierre Poilievre is heading back to Ottawa as a Conservative Member of Parliament after winning Monday's by-election in rural Alberta. Marina von Stackelberg has more on that and what it means for the future of the Conservative Party.
Pierre Poilievre is heading back to the House of Commons. The Conservative leader easily won a by-election in Battle River Crowfoot with more than 80% of the vote.
I say to all of the people, not just in the great region of Battle River Crowfoot, but right across this country, to anyone who has been knocked down, but has got back up and kept on going, you haven't given up, so I won't give up.
After losing his own Ottawa riding this spring, Poilievre spent this summer door-knocking and hitting the rodeo circuit in rural Alberta. It was a big change from the massive cross-Canada rallies he held during the federal election. Poilievre signaling in his victory speech a new tone.
Conservatives will fight to put Canada first, and we will work with anyone from any party We continue to extend our hand to Mr. Carney and say that we want to work with any party.
This is really the first step toward getting back in the saddle.
Poilievre's former communications director says the by-election had the Conservative leader getting back to basics.
Going through that process, doing that hard work, talking to just regular people and earning their vote one by one, which is how he spent the majority of the by-election time. It is a humbling experience. I think it's a huge asset and very positive.
Poilievre's next fight will be his mandatory leadership review in January. Since he's taken on the job, he's grown the Conservative base. No one has stepped forward to challenge him. Support appears solid.
But it's not a guarantee, because you may have many loyal Conservative voters who said, hang on, you promised us a majority government. You said you were going to bring it home. What happened?
Poilievre returns to Parliament in less than a month. He says he doesn't want to just oppose, but propose his own solutions. That will likely include a push for more resource and pipeline development, an end to Liberal climate policy, and a stronger stance on crime and immigration. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
Officials in Atlantic Canada are trying to make more progress in their battle against multiple wildfires. In Nova Scotia, the Long Lake fire in the Annapolis Valley hasn't grown but remains out of control. And in Newfoundland, thousands still face evacuation orders and alerts because of the massive Kingston fire burning in Conception Bay North. Karen Pauls has details on that.
I'm here on a lookout point just outside Job's Cove on the Avalon Peninsula of Newfoundland. Just behind me, what's known as the Kingston Fire, the province's largest. It's now almost as big as Paris, about 100 square kilometers. Crews have been busy trying to control the flames and hold the perimeter. We got some new numbers today from the province on how many structures have been destroyed so far. More than 200, which could be homes or garages or sheds. Evacuees are being notified about their losses, but that's both complicated and emotional.
People in the reception centres acknowledge that making those calls has been very hard on the staff. We have, as the Premier said, not informed everyone yet of their structures, because we have wanted desperately to avoid missteps. It is equally bad to tell someone that their house is gone when it hasn't, as to tell someone that their house is intact when it really isn't. And as I said, the only way of doing this actually is boots on the ground.
There has been some light rain again today, and it's been much cooler. That's slowing down the air suppression a bit, but it's good for the ground crew fighting the fire. About 3,000 people have been forced from their homes because of this Kingston fire. Another 13,000 on evacuation alert, taking what they need with them when they leave their homes, just in case.
I'm still worried. It's not over till it's finally out. And that's a worry that everybody around here has on their mind. When is this going to be over? It's going into the third week now, and it's still not not under control. I hope now that all my family and friends can get back into the homes that are still there.
The province says it could take weeks, even months, before people from some of these affected areas can get back to see the damage. That has implications for students heading back to school in a few weeks, and for people looking for places to live as winter approaches. Karen Pauls, CBC News near Job's Cove, Newfoundland.
Colette Kennedy is back now for more on weather. And Colette, we know that we have a bit more rain on the way, but then it'll be nice and sunny again. So that's great.
Yeah, we're moving towards a trend, Katarina, where the temperatures will start climbing again, kind of a little above seasonal, but we're just in a cooler, well, somewhat cooler pocket here, and we've had some wet weather. What's really to come is more so lighter showers and drizzle. A lot of it's already passed through and moved off towards the east of us. So with a bit of sunshine, or at least some sunny breaks, we jumped back up to the mid-20s there, 25 degrees, and it's a comfortable 23 in Sarnia. And for those of you watching us from Chatham, Kent, as well, there's that little line of showers. In fact, let's go in for a closer look. I was mentioning kind of just tagging pretty close to Amherstburg, maybe a little more to the south, and that's even tracking southeast. So could there be a bit more development? Possibly, but pretty light in nature, as the main frontal boundary here and some of the heavier downpours and thunderstorms have now moved beyond us. This is a really important front, however, because this is that frontal boundary that's holding Hurricane Erin off the coastline. So it's coming through. It's bringing some much needed rainfall to southern Ontario and the Great Lakes region. The low moves a little bit slowly for the next 24 to 36 hours. Because of that, we may hold on to some of the cloud cover and some isolated drizzle or an isolated shower chance just with that little bit of instability. Then a ridge of high pressure builds in. As it does, we'll also turn around and get out of the east and northeasterly flow of the winds and get into more of a southerly, and that will begin to not only bring back the sun, but start to push back some milder temperatures. So just watch for some of that instability on the backside of this, and then things are really going to start to stabilize once again. But just showing you what I was referring to there. So with our front, here it is right here. You see the cloud deck pushing as it moves east. That's kind of keeping this from making a landfall along the eastern seaboard. And it's a good thing, because even with it being out to sea, they're seeing very high surf and certainly some tropical storm watches and warnings and rip currents and beach erosion and all kinds of things still happening through there as it's really churning up those waters. What can we see? Well, maybe 1 to 4 or 5 millimeters of rain kind of as this has gone through. Overnight temperatures, they're going to be on the milder side, but some upper teens around the area. And then with any luck, back up to 25 for tomorrow. I said there was a bit of a warming trend, and you see it there. It's gradual, but by Friday and Saturday, back up into more of those upper 20s with a little bit more humidity coming back into the picture, Katarina, too.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much, Colette. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We will see you tomorrow.
Good night.